What is going on, guys? This is Vega-Goose and welcome to our next review. Today's review is going to be the video game Infamous. Infamous is the third-person action game which sees you taking the role of Cole McGrath, a bike messenger who's, well, frankly, having a very bad day. Does the game hold up after all these years, or should you pass on it? Find out today. Let's start things off with the gameplay. Infamous is a third-person action game with a shooter mechanic. Your basic attacks are lightning bolts from your hand, and you can switch from your left to right based on your preference. You'll be able to upgrade stronger attacks as the game continues on. Special attacks, anything other than the basic bolt, requires more electricity, so you have to recharge. This is also how you heal yourself. Staying out of enemy fire will also heal you as you regenerate. Movement-wise, it's clear the developer took a page from Assassin's Creed, as you climb and run in similar fashion to Assassin's Creed 2, which dropped several months after this game, so it could just be a coincidence as both games were developed at the same time. During gameplay, you will have several moments where you have to make a choice as to whether you want to be heroic or villainous. This will affect the abilities you can have in the game, how people react to you in the world, and aesthetically, it will alter the color of your lightning, with blue being good and red being evil. On top of that, there are a ton of collectibles that will either increase your powers or give you a backstory into the world. Overall, the gameplay earns a 7 out of 10. It is very fun, but can get repetitive after a while. Mixing up combo attacks would have improved this system by a factor of 10. What we have here is really fun. Next, let's take a look at the graphics. Graphically, this is one of the higher end games of 2009, and even by today's standards, it looks great. The city feels alive, and you can really feel the pain people are going through. More than that, after certain in-game events, the open world will actually react to what has happened, altering your world as you progress. Cutscenes are done in the somewhat of a graphic novel feel. This is an interesting change from the traditional FMVs we've all come to be used to. Overall, the graphics earn a 7 out of 10. These are above average graphics, and given the age of the game, they hold up well. However, if you're really into the FMVs, you may not like the comic book style as much as I did. If you like that style of cutscene, you'll want to bump this up to an 8 or 9. Next up, let's look at the sound. The soundtrack in this game really conveys the surprising emotional weight the game has. You will feel the emotion of the heroes and villains, not only through the excellent voice work, but the music, which is always pitch perfect to whatever is happening. On top of that, every villain theme has its own nuance, and has a very unique sound that meets the character correctly. Overall, the sound gets a 10 out of 10. It is just perfect, and it truly adds to the overall experience, as soundtracks really should. Next, we take a look at the story. The story of Infamous is actually really emotional, and will keep you guessing from the beginning to the end. You play as Cole McGrath, a bike messenger who winds up in a bad situation. In the aftermath of a massive explosion, Cole finds himself as enemy number 1. You have to figure out what happened, and save your city from the scum that have moved in and taken over. In this game, you will face 3 enemy factions, the first of which being the Reapers, which started off being simple drug dealers, but after the blast have turned into almost a militarized gang, led by their twisted leader Sasha. Each faction has a super-powered leader, someone who was changed by the same device that alters you. A big part of this game is acceptable losses. The game makes it clear several times you can't save everyone, which is a lot different than most superhero games. It takes a darker turn and seems more realistic, given the subject matter, and thus will get you further involved in the narrative. The game doesn't ask you what you can do, it asks what are you prepared to do. And along the course of the game, there are some serious twists and moments where you will honestly just have to look at the screen and just be like, wow, that just happened. It really makes you feel for the world and its people as if they were real. And by the end, you will have a serious mindfuck moment, and you will be dying to see what happens next. Overall, the story gets a 9 out of 10. It is damn near flawless. Lastly, let's take a look at customer care. Overall, this game has been treated great by the developer, and it's refreshing to see a game not overly loaded with DLC. In fact, I can only think of one DLC which added a new melee attack, and it was free on PSN when it launched. But after a couple of weeks, they began to charge $2.99 for it. So I have to give the game's customer care a 10 out of 10. This company knows how to treat its fans right, and they seem to always do that, something I have to give them a lot of credit for. Overall, Infamous gets a 43 out of 50. It is an excellent game, well worth the money, especially now that you can get it so cheap as it's been out a while. I would highly advise that if you want to play a good third-person action game, you pick this up. It is easily on par with other games in the genre, and it's just really fun to play, and that's really the most important part of a video game, is it fun? And with the amount of tweaks and changes you can make to your story, it's worth quite a few replays just to see all the differences that happen based off what you do. Until next time, my name is Vega-Goose saying, life's got you down, throw it in the God mode and keep kicking ass. I'll see you next time.